Hey everyone, it's Kale from Scud Style, and tonight I'm bringing a video from the coast. The new moon just came to be a few minutes ago. It's a little after 11 p.m. on the East Coast on June 4th, 2016, and I'm on the beach staring up into the abyss. And while there is some light pollution, and my rudimentary camera cannot hope to capture any of it, but you're looking at what I'm looking at. And if you hear any rustling, I'm trying to take some refuge from the wind, and hopefully it shouldn't cause a disturbance, but the gentle breeze is really nice. It's not too harsh tonight. It's kind of a cleansing. It's just gently washing over me. And that's kind of perfect to go hand in hand with the fresh slate we all have the opportunity to take at the new moon. It's a new night. Tomorrow will be a new day. And it's a new instance of deciding what we desire most and what we choose to spend our time and energy thinking about, talking about, meditating on, dwelling on, sometimes worrying about, oftentimes worrying about, getting excited about. It's a really profound opportunity because each of those things is going to become a part of our ongoing process of how we live, how we exist day to day, how we choose to spend our days, and that in turn shapes us. It shapes our character, it shapes our choices, who we become, are all molded by our thoughts. Everything begins in the mind. So it's nice to have some form of tangible, cyclical, and visual, or in the case of the new moon, invisible, reminder and kind of tether to our planet and the moon that circles our planet and affects the ocean that I'm so close to right now and affects the cycle of life and death on this planet. So, if we want to use this opportunity as a powerful launching point to create that which we believe will serve us on our path, that which will fulfill our destiny, our purpose, our animus or drive that gets us out of bed every day and says, hey, this is the reason why you're on the planet right now. It's an excellent opportunity to not only reflect on that, but to set forth one or two things that maybe you'd like to change, or maybe you'd like to clarify, make more concrete. Make more real to you. And instead of being in resistance to what stands in our way, focus on what is the way and what is that which we are striving for. Because whatever we dwell upon in our mind finds a way to manifest itself in the world. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it's almost unbelievable how quickly it happens. It all depends on how much space we have in our lives for those things to come in, for those things to appear and take their place in the life that we've created for ourselves. So whenever you feel lost, whenever you feel like, hey, that sounds great, but I don't really know what my purpose is. I don't know what is in store for me. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I should do. When that kind of happens, and it is, I assure you, not uncommon within myself or other people I've interacted with and spoken with about this type of thing. When that happens, it's easy to fall back on to what other people are expecting of you or are projecting onto you, and for us to kind of give our minds over to be supplely molded by everyone else in our lives, using everyone's information except our own to make these crucial decisions about ourselves and our lives, our purposes and our paths. And I understand why people do that. It is difficult to look inward. It is even more difficult to be honest with ourselves. It's difficult to look through the programming and conditioning, societally, socially. I'm not saying any of these with a negative connotation. It's just we're brought up in a certain way around certain people to believe certain things, from authority figures on down. Sometimes parents play a very active role in that, sometimes they don't. Friends almost always play a supremely active role in that, but sometimes they don't. Peers, even people, like if you're a teacher, maybe your students shape a lot of your worldview, more than you'd really realized. If you're a consultant, maybe your clients have more of an effect on you than you think. But at the new moon, or any other time when this awareness creeps in, or that you want to clear that slate for yourself and reflect, it's a very powerful practice to take time and try to clear all of that out of your image of yourself. To strip away what your parents think of you, what your friends think of you, your boss, your coworkers, your children, and even your significant other. Even the people most close to you. It's very beneficial to clear out everyone's thoughts and expectations of you from time to time. To peel back the curtain, and this fine sheen that's been draped over you, and look for yourself with your own two eyes, who you are. Not who you're supposed to be, not who you hope to be, not who you're faking it till you make it gonna be. Who, deep down, in the core of your being, you are. And oftentimes this is very difficult. Oftentimes we are unable to discern what is truly us and what is a projection that's been placed onto us and that we've kind of identified as ourself for maybe as long as we can remember. And don't get me wrong, this is a lifelong practice. Because there's always going to be people who want a say in who you are. And it's great to have people close to you. It's great to have people that care about you and have an active interest in your happiness and your life. But there's only one person that can peel back that veneer and get any real truth, any real answers about who you are. And that is the first step to realizing what your path or your purpose could be. So, don't misunderstand me that I'm saying you should ignore the opinions of everyone else at all times and you should shut everyone else out of your life or of how you do anything. That's not what I mean. But there are instances where it is very helpful to clear out anything that we can discern to not be us. And that takes a lot of self-awareness, a lot of honesty. A lot of people look at painful things that they don't want to look at in this process, and they kind of stop there, or they ignore them, or avoid them, walk around them, and selectively choose other things when it's those most difficult, painful, hard to look at aspects of ourselves. that we probably need to look at the most closely. And there are also things that others maybe have projected on us that we take pride in, that we take credit for, or we have been so quick to jump onto that. To jump on to what we perceive to be a positive addition or a positive alteration of who we actually are. But if we're truly honest with ourselves, if we're candid and addressing this with an open mind and an open heart, we can embrace the parts of us that have nothing to do with pride, have nothing to do with ego, have nothing to do with good or bad, have nothing to do with right or wrong, have nothing to do with happy or sad or angry or indifferent or scared. This is just us. And it's all those other emotions that are brought in from other people and other parts of ourselves. The emotional center, which is a lot of times very much based in social interaction and expectation anyway, and aren't true responses. If it was just us, a lot of times we would react differently with our emotions. But it is those times when we are in the most pain or in the most resistance to looking at who we truly are or examining true raw aspects of ourselves, that's when we can make the most personal and spiritual progress and start to make the changes that we want to make, not anyone else, but we want, in order to step into our higher selves. And that also brings up one of the main blocks is the resistance. 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 It's a very difficult thing to address because in its nature, it's something we don't want. We're resistant to resistance. But resistance invokes persistence, and that which we resist persists. So, ironically, the things that we look at and are unhappy with are the things we resist the hardest, and because we're spending our valuable time and energy dwelling and resisting and thinking about them, we are creating them. Our mind doesn't know the difference between creation and destruction. If we envision something, our mind seeks to replicate it. So, finishing up, it is best to focus on where we want to go and not the things standing in our way. I invite you to take any opportunity to take an honest look at who you are, because you are you, and that which we are, and we are all beautiful.